Good evening and welcome to 365 Days of Amazing Stories with Theo Mayer. And here I am in Granada, Spain, on the street. And I don't know, it's kind of an interesting area. I'm doing laundry. And anyway, this is where I am. And it is day 98. Which is a multiple of 9. So it's my life as a steward. And so I just want to talk about one question that I wish I had been asked early on in my life by the people who were trying to guide me and teach me. That one question is, how do you want to joyously contribute? I feel like that would have been a really wonderful question to have been asked repeatedly as a young person. Joyous, that's very important. Because we all want to stay joyous in our lives. But the other thing that I think joy just naturally comes from is from contributing, is from being in service in one way or another. I have to tell you, on this trip, traveling around and not really doing a whole lot, except, I don't know, walking around, visiting with people, eating food, one place or another, trying to learn the local language a little bit, get familiar with the turf. I don't know, I don't feel like I'm in great service, you know, I feel like I'm more just consuming and taking as I go around. And it doesn't bring the most joy that you could possibly have, I don't think. So the one, be in service. I think our communities need our young people especially to be in service. I was a teacher for years, and my main, well, I was a Waldorf teacher. The grades that I taught the most were 6th through 8th. Middle schoolers, all of whom still had it within them to help out, and all of whom, almost, had some frustration that they didn't know how to actually help their parents, their school. Avenues of contribution had somewhat been taken away. I think if you're living close with the land, there's always something to do. But of course, there's something unique in each one of us that would be the joyous place for us, or the joyous place from which to serve. In India, they would have called something like that dharma. What's your dharma? And if you do your dharma, you're just apt to be joyous in the process. You're apt to have this fulfillment because it is the thing that lives inside of you to do. In the Bhagavad Gita, which is within the Mahabharata, from India, this was the big instruction from Krishna to Arjuna when he was in battle and was poised to end up slaying so many of his relatives and kinsmen and friends. Arjuna was just stuck. He couldn't even begin to lift his bow to point it and aim arrows against all those people who he actually loved. And Arjuna had to really instruct him about his dharma, that it was his dharma to do this, it was his duty, and he should not shrink from that. He should just go into it big time, which he did in the story. So if we could find our dharma, find what it is, that special dream that lives within us, and then do it so that we are a source of contribution, it seems that the joy naturally follows. Now, if you're doing something to serve, but you're not really joyous doing, I don't think that really helps out that much. So that's why that question, how do you want to joyously contribute, I think is so important. Pretty loud on this street. I hope you don't mind too much. This is the sound of a little kind of cobblestone street in Granada, Spain. As cars go by, dogs bark, motorcycles go by, and people chat away. Now, if you look at native cultures in the Americas, the more indigenous cultures, in those moments when people were led through their rites of passage, usually starting around the age of 13 or 14, they were asked that question from the age of 14 on, and it was a kind of mentoring from that point on in their life. They were continued to be asked that question. How do you wish to joyously contribute? And it helped one be fulfilled, but also for society to be rich and full, because it was a society full of giving people, contributing people. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi used to say that ideal relationships were based on giving. Now, I think it's true. If you have two people that come to give, then what can be lost? There's always something. Some people come to contribute. But if you have people that are waiting to receive, waiting to, be served, then imagine if both people are that way. Then both people just sit and wait. Nothing happens. So, big question to ask oneself, to ask your children, share with friends. How do you wish to joyously contribute? I was sitting at a pool recently, and there were two young guys, really strapping young guys. They both played baseball for Carmel High School. And they were really friendly and talkative, and we got to chatting a little bit, and I asked them if they'd ever been asked that question. And they said no, but they said, wow, that was a great question. Here they were, one was a junior, the other a senior, and they loved it. And they said that that was like a sort of a pivotal moment for them to be asked that question, because it got them to think about what they were doing very differently than they had been. And surprised they were that no one else had asked them that question. How do you wish to joyously contribute? Okay, hope you enjoyed. Have a good rest of your day.